Hi, I'm Jamie Baker with the Courier Sports Department. I'm here with Chris Miller from WFIN, Dave Hanneman from the Courier, and we're here to talk about high school football week 1. First game, I guess, first game of the season, big one for Findlay High School. They got to come away with a win. What do you think about the game, Chris?
Well, I think it's a little bit better than having to play St. John every year.
Right.
But actually, though, Brunswick's a good program too. I know they've been in the playoffs several times. They're coming off a playoff year. They do have a new coach. He left. Their former coach left, took a lot of his staff with them, and they brought in the coach from Fredericktown. I know they've only got, what, 1 or 2 starters back on offense, and I believe 5 on defense. So hopefully the Trojans are catching them in a good year, because the Trojans should have a pretty good team. They have to rebuild their offensive line, but they have, what, 7 starters back on defense, 5 on offense, but also a lot of kids, underclassmen played a lot last year. So I actually think the Trojans could be a playoff team this year, but you're right, Jamie. I think they've got to start off on the right foot with a win over Brunswick.
How about you, Dave? What do you think about this game? I mean, it's a lot different opener, but it's a big game for them.
It's a huge game for Findlay in the long run. Chris mentioned playoffs. This could be worth a lot of playoff points. Brunswick plays in it's called the Northeast Ohio Division or League, and it's broken up into 3 divisions: the Lake Division, the River Division, and the Valley. They're in the Valley Division, and of the 6 teams in that division, they sent 3 into the playoffs last year. So it's a very strong, it is the strongest of the 3 divisions they play in. They have 1 offensive starter back, a wide receiver, but they remind me of a suburbia, a very strong suburbia kind of school. I mean, they've got the funds to have a great youth program, junior high program. They get numbers out, they got good coaches. They're going to be very fundamental. They've got 2 linebackers that are studs that are both being recruited by either D1 or D2 schools, but it's a chance for Findlay. If they get this win, it's going to be worth tons as far as emotion and momentum, and maybe tons as far as computer points.
Well, we'll see what happens Friday night. Dave will be covering the game, and of course you can listen to the game on WFIN, WFIN.com with Chris on the mic. We got some other big games. Ottawa Glandorf and Fostoria. It's always a rivalry. What do you think of that one, Chris?
Well, I think Fostoria may be down a little bit. I think they were 3-7 a year ago, and I think their JV team went winless. I believe they have their. I didn't mean to insult your story. No, I mean I'm just saying as they try to rebuild, they do have the Tucker kid back at running back, I believe, so he could cause some problems. But I really like what Ken Schreiner's doing at Ottawa Glandorf. 5 straight years in the playoffs, and
right.
Very well could be a 6th straight year with the quarterback back, the running back, the tailback, and the fullback back in the backfield. I know they've got to find a couple guys in the secondary, but defense is probably a little behind the offense this year, which is just the opposite of last year. But I like the Titans this year, and I think they're going to make it 6 years in a row.
Well, I think they probably will, because Fostoria, from what I read in the Review Times, they really struggled in their scrimmage with Clyde. I think they lost 36-0 in 2 quarters of football, so that does not bode well for playing the Ottawa Glandorf Titans. Let's move on to the next game. Bluffton and Courier Austin, Dave. Always a big rivalry, and we're going to have a little bit something probably on that in Friday's newspaper.
Oh yeah, this one goes back to when Spike Berry was still young. This is a great rivalry. It's right down the highway from each other. The kids know each other. The parents know each other. They work together. They shop in the same stores. I mean, the intensity of this is going to be there. What itemizes this one, I think, is Courier Austin got hit very hard by graduation, and Bluffton returns a lot of veterans, especially on the offensive defensive line, which I think is where Courier had to rebuild the most. They've got Jeremy Elspaugh, who's a great quarterback. He's a great playmaker on both sides of the ball, but I don't know if they're going to have enough depth at every position to handle Bluffton this year.
We got another big game, and Chris would probably like to talk about this one. Arlington and Riverdale. I know you've talked to both coaches. What do you think of that matchup?
Well, I think Riverdale should have a pretty good year. They've got Brady Weber back at quarterback. Also, I think Austin Cook from Van Leeuwen, who's one of their better players, he's transferred in to Riverdale. But I know they've got a lot of kids back on both sides of the ball. I like what Jeremy Kleffer's doing out there. Dick Leonard's not going to want me to say this, but I think they've got a lot of rebuilding to do. I think they lost 80% of their offensive line, 80% of their defensive line, 3/4 of their secondary. But they do have Cam Brown, and that kid, as you know, is a beast on both sides of the ball, so he could be the equalizer. But this could be a pretty good year for Riverdale.
We've said that for a number of years, but Arlington's won, I think, 8 straight and 11 of 12. And I know that Riverdale's been building and building and building. Sooner or later, they've got to win this game
Right.
to sort of put a stamp on their season and say, all right, this is what we're going to be this year. They can't keep losing this opener to Arlington.
So in other words, I would go with Arlington or until Riverdale can beat them. So
That's what they say. You stick with the team that's won it until somebody knocks them off.
all right, that should put a wrap on week one. You can get a copy of the Courier's football tab. It should be on newsstands already. And if you didn't find one on newsstand, you can probably stop in the office and we'll hook you up here. That'll put a wrap on week one. We'll see you next week.